Well, hello fellow campers. Today's question is, do you truly know how to pick the right campground for you? Hey, welcome to Two Camping Gurus. If you like camping in the great outdoors, you are in the right place. Alright, so you've decided you want to take up camping and head out, whether it's you alone, your spouse, your family, whatever it might be. Obviously, you have a particular location in mind, or maybe not. Well, when you start to think about that, you want to start thinking about where you want to stay. Whether you're going to do boondocking or staying at campgrounds or, parking lots along the way, eventually you're going to have a destination in mind. And I recommend, before you go, to figure out where you plan on being and then take a look at the campgrounds. And there's several things you want to consider when choosing a campground. Now, all these things may not be as important to everybody, so take some of them, use them or not, it's completely up to you. But some of the things I like to think about or look at when I'm trying to pick a campground is its proximity to where we want to be. Is there a lot in the area to do? What kind of transportation is nearby? There was a time we went down to, actually it was Myrtle Beach, and we stayed at the campground down there. And they do have a bus system, but in my opinion, it was a pretty lousy system. Timing was terrible, and it really just didn't work out. But we did our homework ahead of time and knew that, and found that Uber was readily available. For our situation, it worked out fantastic. But I recommend you definitely do your homework and find out, especially if you are driving an RV, a driver, a Class C, a Class A, or something like that, and you're going to have that thing set up at the campground. You don't want to break it down just to go do something. Now, it's not as important if you are using a travel trailer with a tow vehicle. Then you can use that tow vehicle, obviously, to do what you need to do. So this tip is not really important to everybody. It depends on what kind of camping you're doing. Another thing you want to look at when you're trying to choose the right campground is, what are the amenities of the campground? Again, do you have kids? Are playgrounds important? Pools? The proximity to laundry facilities? What kind of store does it have? And when talking about the store, I'm very cautious of what I buy at the stores, only because, especially in the off seasons, I don't think they cycle through the stuff fast enough that it's fresh always. That's not always the case, but we have seen that. And not only that, it tends to be more expensive, of course. So try to do your shopping ahead of time before you get to the campground. But it's always good to know what kind of facility they have for shopping. So if you need something in an emergency, or if you forget something, what is available? What's the size of this store, and what kind of things do they offer? And keep in mind, lots of times campfire wood, you cannot transport campfire wood from state to state for bug reasons and stuff like that. So you want to make sure the campground has something like that. They offer firewood. Not all do, but most do. So those are things to consider. If you have a unit that you don't have your own facilities, restroom and washroom and stuff like that, are you in good proximity to a bathhouse? What about trash removal? Some campgrounds require you to bring it to a dumpster and put it there, there yourself. Other campgrounds have campsite pickup. You just put it out on the edge of your site in the morning. So these type of things are important to know as well. Now, another thing I like to take a look at is, how close are the camp lots to each other? I like privacy, and sometimes these campgrounds really tuck them in tight, and I understand that. Sometimes they're like parking lots, which I almost pretty much refuse to stay in those, only because if I'm going to pay to stay in a parking lot, I might as well stay at Walmart or something like that. So I prefer typically shady sites, trees, with a decent amount of space between me and my neighbors for privacy. Even though when you're camping you tend to talk to everybody around you anyways, I don't like to be backed on top of each other. You like some space. Are the lots flat? Are they fairly level? You don't want to have a situation where it's so uneven that you can't level your unit out. And we have run into those cases as well, where no matter what we did, we couldn't get it completely level. It's when we were new at camping, and you're sleeping in the bed and you're sliding down the end all night long. It just turns into a bad night's sleep. Another thing to look at too when you're picking campgrounds, and this depends on the size of your unit, is all back-in sites. Are they pull-through sites? What kind of hookups do they have? Are you looking for full hookups? Are you looking for partial hookups? all of these, again, are your individual needs. If you're, only going to be there for a couple nights and they have a dump station, typically you can get a site that has just power and water, and you can save yourself a little bit of money and dump your tanks on your way out. If you're going to be there for long term, the last thing you want to do is unhook and move your unit around the dump and bring it back. So then I personally would go for a full hookup site. Again, this is all depends on your particular situation and what's important to you. Another thing to take in mind, to take into consideration, is do they have Wi-Fi? Is this something that's important to you? Is it free? Is it included? Do they have TV hookup, cable? Personally, I don't care about the cable hookup. I don't watch TV anyways, but for some people, that's pretty important. So what do they offer? Is there additional charges? These type of things range greatly from one campground to another. So you want to do your research so you have the best stay possible for what you're looking for. And sometimes this stuff is included in the site rent or your lot fee, and sometimes it's not. But it's best to know up front what's included. And Wi-Fi, I've always found that they provide free Wi-Fi in lots of campgrounds, but it's never that super great. Well, I mean, some are, but typically they're not super fast. And that could be because a lot of people are onto the system all at the same time. But again, if it doesn't have Wi-Fi at all, then that might be a situation where you don't want to stay at that campground. Now, if you're staying with a family and some of that family might be staying in a tent, you have to take a look at how many people they allow on a particular site. Sometimes it's just up to 4 or just parents and immediate children. Once you know that, is there room on your site to set up an additional tent if you need that? Some of these lots are really tight and there's no extra room at all. These are all questions you want to ask or look online at each individual campground you're looking at possibly staying at to make sure it can accommodate your situation. Alright, well, this is a whole bunch of things to consider when you are looking to pick your particular campground for your next stay. This is certainly not an inclusive list of everything. This is just some top things that I've thought of and I try to look at every time I head out and are choosing a campground. And hopefully that you find this helpful. Anyway, thanks for swinging by 2 Camping Gurus. Alright, fellow campers, I hope you found that video helpful. If nothing else, at least hopefully it was a little entertaining for you. If you are a seasoned camper or you're getting ready to head out for the first time, then I encourage you to click on the link below and download my free ebook and pre-trip checklist to make sure your vehicle and your camper is safe and you are completely ready to hit the road. Again, that is free. It's right in the description just below, or you can type in your browser pretripchecklist.gr8.com and get that today. Also, don't forget to comment on this video, like this video if you found it helpful, and of course subscribe so you don't miss any future videos. I'll be releasing a video every day this month, and hopefully you'll find something here that's helpful to you. And if you have any questions, again, leave them in the comments below, and I'd be happy to get back to you. As always, have a great day and happy camping.